Hey, friend. I'm excited to continue the conversation I started on the last episode on planning for burnout. Now, this whole burnout series is me trying to answer a question that listener sent in. And the question was, at the foundation stage of a business, what is the most efficient way to structure and design an online service based business to prevent burnout on the service provider's part while generating enough income to become sustainable? I will be answering these questions over 4 episodes. This is the second episode so that we all can get the answers we need to prepare for burnout even as we start our business. In today's episode, I am going to talk about the 5 practical tips for designing a sustainable online service based business to avoid burnout. All right, I'm excited to dive in. Pop in those earbuds, lace those shoes, and let's get into today's episode. Are you ready to streamline your focus and get clarity to start your online service-based business? Are you tired of struggling with lack of clarity, self-doubt, and the fear of being a public failure? Do you wish you had a clear plan you could follow to make your calling a reality? Hey friend, you don't have to stay stuck any longer. With a renewed mindset and a clear plan, you can start a business that fulfills your calling and makes a profit. I'm your host, Chichi Ukomado, a Christian business coach, Jesus follower, and a 7-figure service-based entrepreneur. In this podcast, I'll teach you how to streamline your focus, get clarity on your business idea, create your business launch plan, set up your business essentials, and launch your sustainable and profitable business from scratch. You will get tons of encouragement, godly wisdom, and accountability to grow in your faith and new business journey. It's time to partner with God and take your first step to start that business. You know the one I'm talking about? Yes, that one you've been putting off for a long time. If you're listening to me right now and you have never left a review for this podcast, I want to ask a favor of you. Please pause me right now and go over to Apple Podcast and leave me a written review for this podcast. If you don't have an iPhone, you can leave a review on whatever podcast app you're using to listen right now. Please pause me right now and go leave me a review. Now, the reason I ask for reviews is because that is the only way I can get feedback from you to know that you are learning, you are being blessed and encouraged by this show. Your feedback means a lot to me. When I read it, it helps me know that I'm not just talking to myself on the mic. I have people that are listening, learning, being encouraged, and getting all the things they need to start their business. So please consider leaving me a review. Pause me right now and go leave me a review. Thank you so much. When I started my e-commerce logistics business, I'll be honest with you, I didn't design it for sustainability. That business is operations heavy and people management heavy. And I didn't prepare for sustainability. So guess what? Burnout was inevitable for me. I had no one to help me because my processes were all in my head and I wasn't delegating enough. Now, you're able to build a sustainable business when you have brought out your processes from your head and you have organized your business in such a way that you can hire help to come. And when they come, you have something you can delegate to them because it has been properly organized and properly documented. So I didn't have that in my e-commerce logistics business. So everything was on me. I was the customer support person. I was the warehouse rep. I was the IT person. I was doing all of this. But guess what? COVID changed everything. I always say COVID was a blessing to me. Even though I had COVID during 2020, it was still a blessing to me because me having COVID, it helped me just reflect on my life, reflect on my business, and make some really hard decisions. It was in 2020, I made the hard decision to say, you know what? I am going to make this business sustainable so that I can get the help I need to come and I don't have to get burn myself out during this business. And these are the 5 tips that I implemented in my e-commerce service business to help me avoid burnout. Now, the first tip is create systems. Yes, I created systems in my e-commerce logistics business. What are systems? Systems are a combination of procedures and processes that you follow to accomplish a particular goal or outcome in your business. Now, I'll give you an example. So, in my e commerce logistics business, I have a procedure for how I process packages that come into my warehouse. Now, the procedure is what I do, and the process is how I do it. So, the what for me here is processing packages that come into the warehouse. The how is the steps I take to process the package. So I have all that written down in what is called an SOP. An SOP simply stands for Standard Operating Procedure. Now, it's just a document where you have the name of the procedure and you have the steps that you take to complete that procedure. And you should have that for all the different procedures that come together to help you deliver an excellent service to your customers. So you might have a procedure for how you answer, how you respond to customers via email or chat or phone call. You might have a procedure of how customers can pay for your services. You might have a procedure for how you deliver your services. So all these things need to come together. You need to write down how you get things done in the critical areas of your business. Now, a lot of the gurus will say you should write down at least 80%. Now, it's totally up to you. The more organized you are in your business, the more freedom you enjoy in the business, the more sustainable that business is, the more systems you create in your business and you document, the more freedom, the more sustainability you enjoy in that business. Now, in my e commerce logistics business, I have my warehouse operations. That's just one critical area. Now, under my warehouse operations, I have procedure for receiving, I have procedure for processing, I have procedure for storing, I have procedure for scanning, I have procedure for packing. Now, these are things I sat down to identify, and I was able to do this during COVID because everywhere was on lockdown. So I will go into my warehouse every day and I will sit down and think through all the procedures and write the processes, the steps to accomplish each of this procedure. So that was what I spent my 2020 doing. It was a very time consuming task, but guess what? Fast forward to 2023, because I took the time to really create systems for that business to make it sustainable. In 2023, I was able to take a 1 year sabbatical from my business, from that e commerce logistics business, meaning for the whole 1 year, I was able to step away from that business completely to start my coaching business because I had created systems and I hired people to run those systems for me. So I didn't have to be there physically running the day to day of that business. That is the beauty of creating systems. It frees you up, it makes your business sustainable, and you can actually pursue other things. Now, write down all the steps you need to take to deliver your offer to your customers. Now, if you're offering, say, website services, and you say, okay, I will build a 5 page website for you, that is a service you're offering. Now, you have to sit down and say, what are all the steps I need to take to deliver this 5 page website? If you're a coach and you have coaching package that you're offering, maybe it's a 6 session coaching package or 8 session coaching package, you need to sit down and ask yourself, what are all the steps I need to take to deliver these 6 sessions or 8 sessions to my client. So starting from when they book the session, what happens after they book the session, what happens during the session, what happens when the session is completed. You need to think through all these steps and write it down so that you can be more efficient in doing the task. Now, the beauty of systems is it not only gives you freedom and sustainability, it helps you even on the onset when you have not hired anyone and you have maybe a limited time to work on this online service business. When you have your system documented, it helps you be efficient with your time. So imagine me now, because I have my e-commerce logistics business, I've put a system in place to record this podcast. So the system I have in place is a 5-step process I go through to publish one episode every week. So the procedure is to publish one episode every week. The processes that I go through is: 1, I brainstorm; 2, I outline; 3, I record; 4, I edit; 5, I review and I publish. So during my outlining process, that is when I write out on note cards what I want to say in that episode. And I have it written down on note cards, and I put those note cards together, and that's what I use as I record the episode. So see how it helps you to be efficient from day one. When it's just you have not hired any team member yet, you don't have any help yet. When you have your system documented, even if you have little time to work on your online service-based business, you can get it done because you are efficient. You have written your systems down, you've written your steps down, and you can easily follow those steps. Also, when you have your systems in place, you can easily delegate to other people. Delegation becomes easier when you have written down processes, when you have a system that combines a procedure and processes and they're all written down. You can easily delegate. Now, because I have a system to publish one podcast episode every week, and I just mentioned the 5 steps that I take. Now, if I wanted to delegate, it's easy for me to delegate because I know the steps that I can handle myself and I know the steps that I can outsource to someone else. So I have 5 steps in that system. I have my brainstorming, I have my outline, I have my recording. So the first 3 steps, I can handle it myself. Step 4, which is to edit; step 5, which is to publish, I can delegate that to someone else to do for me. So you see how this works when you have systems in place? Systems, they can be time consuming to create, but it is worth every single minute and second you spend sitting down, documenting those procedures and processes so that you can free yourself up and run a sustainable business. Another analogy I like to use when I talk about systems is a new mom. When you are a new mom and you just give birth to a baby, when you're able to express your breast milk using the breast pump, you pump out your breast milk and you put them in breast milk bags, guess what? It frees you up so that you don't have to be the one breastfeeding that baby every single moment. You can have your husband breastfeed with the breast milk that you expressed because you took the time to express that breast milk. It frees you up. So now you can be taking a nap and the baby is crying, and your husband can go bring out the milk, warm it up, and feed the baby. Or maybe your mom is there helping you. She can warm up that breast milk and feed the baby because you have expressed the milk. So that's how systems work. When you express your processes, you bring it out of your head. Like you are using a breast milk machine, you pull everything out of your head and write it down. You can easily give that process to someone that you hire to help complete it. And they can improve on the process too for you. So you will not only be the one working on improving your systems, the people you hire, as they do the work, they update the system. That is the beauty of systems. The second tip is to use tech to automate your systems. So automate your systems. Automation takes your systems even to a whole new level because now you're using tech to make sure that you don't have to think about the process every time you want to do it. So automation for me with my warehouse operations, I used Google Docs to document all my warehouse processes so that I can easily share it with new warehouse reps when they join. You can use tools like Flowdesk. You can use Flowdesk to automate your emails that go out every week. You can use Slack for your internal communication when you have a team. You can use an app like Notion or Todoist or Asana to manage your task and project management, any projects you're going to be doing in that business. You can also use Gmail to write email scripts that you can reuse and send them out when you need them. The whole idea of automation is to make that process automatic where your brain doesn't have to remember every time you want to complete that procedure. You've already written it down somewhere and you can easily pull it up and just follow the steps. So use technology to automate the systems in your business. If you're a coach, get a CRM software, customer relationship management software, or a coaching software that helps you manage your coaching packages, your client information, your sessions, everything in one place, your contracts that they need to sign so that everything is in one place. Once they book a session with you, everything just flows because you have automated it through technology. Automation for me now has become a lifestyle. So I am constantly thinking, how can I become more efficient with my time by using technology to automate my systems? So don't be afraid of automation. Embrace automation. Don't be afraid to use AI, Chat GPT. I use those things to make me more efficient and use my time more efficiently. Train your brain to think in systems and automation. It will help you build a sustainable business. The third tip is to price for profit and avoid toxic pricing. Yes, this is one of the things that makes entrepreneurs run themselves to the ground because you're trying to offer an excellent service at an affordable price. It's like someone trying to offer a first class treatment at the price of an economy ticket. It doesn't work that way. Excellence costs money. So don't build a business that cannot support you financially. It is very, very critical. Maybe in another episode, I will talk about this because I have personal experience with toxic pricing. So I'm speaking from experience. Don't build a business that cannot support you financially. And the reason is if you build a business that cannot support you financially, you will become resentful and you will not be able to serve at your best because every time you need to deliver to your customers will be a painful moment for you because you are delivering this service and it is not supporting you in any way financially. Now, don't create prices based on how much you think your potential customer can pay. Now, don't operate your business from a scarcity mindset or from your insecurities with money. Maybe you've had a bad relationship with money and you think everybody is broke. Everybody is not broke. There are customers out there who have the money to pay for the premium service that you offer. But if you come with the mindset that, oh, they might not be able to pay for this, then guess what? You are going to price yourself low. You're going to create a toxic pricing and you will not be able to support yourself financially in that business. Guess what? I just spoke about creating systems and delegating. If you do not price for profit, guess what? You will not be able to hire people to help you and delegate things to them. And that's where burnout comes in because now you'll be doing everything by yourself. So make sure you price your services for profit so that you can hire people and delegate to them. Now, don't price based on your limiting beliefs about money. I already said that, or what you are worth. Because sometimes you might be struggling with inferiority and you might think you are not worth anything, but your service is actually worth so much because it is solving a problem for someone. Price yourself based on the value your service delivers. And if you don't understand what that value is, look for other people that are in a similar industry with you and are offering a similar value as you're offering, and look at what they're pricing and use that as a template to create your own services. But don't price based on what you think the potential customer will be able to pay, priced based on the value that you're delivering. Another thing you should avoid is pay yourself from day one. That's another way to price for profit. When you're priced for profit, you are able to pay yourself from day one. You don't work the business for 5 years or 10 years and pay yourself after 10 years of working in the business. No, avoid not paying yourself as you create this business. I'm speaking from experience. I will not be able to go into the details. Maybe in another episode, I will talk all about toxic pricing, but make sure you pay yourself from day one. When you're priced for profit, you are able to pay yourself from day one and you're able to show up to deliver your most valuable and authentic service to your customers. And you're actually doing them a service by paying yourself and not pricing yourself in a toxic way. I have a couple of episodes I've recorded in the past that talk about pricing and profit. And if you want to listen to those, you can go to episode 49, episode 17, and episode 14. Those are 3 episodes where I have talked about pricing, and they will be really helpful to help you get in that mindset of pricing for profit. The fourth tip is to get other people's help. Now, when you have created your systems, when you have automated them with tech, when you're priced for profit, guess what? You have the means to be able to get other people's help. And you can get that help early because you are priced for profit. Now, one of the mistakes I made in my e-commerce logistics business is I didn't get help early. I kept working, doing all the things until I burnt myself out. Then I went to get help. Please don't be like me because I was operating with this one person, one woman band mindset. Oh, I can do it all. I can do it all. So I kept going and going and going. And there's this false mindset of, okay, let me save as much money I can during the onset instead of getting someone. I call it a false mindset because even in scripture, it says one will put 1,000 to flight, two will put 10,000 to flight. So you get more momentum, you get more result when you bring other people on to help you in this vision, in this business God has given you to start and create. Your progress is accelerated when you get the right people on board to help you early. So get other people's help after you have documented your systems. Don't delay in getting help to save money. You don't actually save money because if you get burnt out, guess what? The whole business comes to a grinding halt. You are not able to offer your services anymore. So that's why I call it a false mindset of saving money by trying to do everything yourself. You are not actually saving money. You are spending more money to get yourself out of burnout and get your business back on track. So from the onset, set a goal on when you will get help. So you can say, okay, when I make my first $5,000 in this business, or when I make my first 10K, I will hire a virtual assistant. So set a goal. Don't just leave it open and keep working and working and not having a goal to when you get help. So set a goal on when you will get help and start with the minimum viable help you can get. For me, in my coaching business, I recently hired a virtual assistant, what I call a minimum viable help. Minimum viable is a concept where it was a concept by Eric Reeds, and he created what is called the minimum viable product. The whole idea is, what is the minimum version of product that you can create that solves a problem for a customer? So it's a principle that I took from Eric Reed's, and I always ask myself, what is the minimum viable help I can get in my business right now to free up my time a little bit more and help me to keep doing all the things I'm doing. And that was what I did this summer. I hired a VA. She was offering a summer refresh. And for me, my e commerce service business is like my 9 to 5 now. And I know that I have limited time to run my online service based business. So I hired her for one time, 4 hours. I listed the important projects that I needed to accomplish in those 4 hours, and she was able to knock them out for me. So when you're thinking about other people's help, think about minimum viable help. What is the minimum help I can get right now at this onset of my business to keep moving my business goals forward so that I do not get burnt out? Don't hire help when you don't have somewhat of your system documented or you don't know what they are going to come to help you with. Because if you do that, you will be more frustrated with the help than you were walking alone. And that is what usually happens to some people. They go hire help when they have not taken the time to organize their business operations or organize or document their systems and procedures. They go hire help. Now, the help comes and they are not able to help you because you don't have your stuff documented. So you have to always explain to them what they need to do. So they can't work independent of you yet because you have not documented your system. So you become more frustrated because the little time you have now, you're using it to explain to someone what they need to do. So I have also experienced this in my business. So I am speaking from experience. Don't hire help until you have some of your systems documented, written down, and you know exactly what they're coming to help you with. The fifth tip is to set healthy boundaries. You have not been called to serve everyone. And that's where boundaries come in. Boundaries help you know these are the people I've been called to serve, and I'm going to focus on serving them. So don't be everything to everyone. That is how burnout comes in. When you're trying to be everything to everyone, know who you have been called to serve, know how you can serve them in your current season with the time you have right now, with the support you have right now. Your boundaries should keep those you have been called to serve. Your boundaries should keep those you are not called to serve away, and it should attract those you have been called to serve. So don't be afraid to set boundaries. Your boundaries will attract those you have been called to serve, and your boundaries will repel those that you have not been called to serve. So don't be afraid of setting boundaries, even right from the onset of your online service based business. Boundaries are simply your business policies. Boundaries are you setting expectations with your customers, telling them, okay, my business hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. Please expect me to respond to you within those hours. Your boundaries are policies you set in place, policies of, okay, I have a no refund policy. I have this policy or that policy. Those are boundaries you set so that your business can be sustainable, so that you can avoid burnout. So take time to think about your business and think about what boundaries am I going to set? What policies am I going to set to make sure that this business is sustainable and I'm able to avoid burnout? As your business grows and as you interact with customers, your boundaries will keep evolving. So the boundaries you have right now, when you start the business, they will evolve, they will grow. You will keep reviewing and updating them as you go. So don't think you just set it and forget it. No. As your business grows, things change. As you have different encounters and experiences with customers, you will need to tweak or make changes to your boundaries. All right, let's recap real quick. 5 practical tips for designing a sustainable online service based business to avoid burnout. The first tip is to create systems. The second is automate your systems. The third tip, price for profit and avoid toxic pricing. The fourth tip, get other people's help and get that help early. The fifth is to set boundaries. The words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 7, verse 24 to 26 reads, anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on solid rock. Though the rain comes in torrents and the flood waters rise and the winds beat against that house, it won't collapse because it is built on bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on the sand. When the rains and floods come and the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash. I pray that as you have listened to this episode, you will be like the wise person who builds a sustainable and a profitable business that can avoid burnout, so that when all the pressures come, your business is standing solid and it doesn't collapse like a mighty crashing to the ground. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Now I want to invite you, if you're ready to build a sustainable and a profitable online service-based business, I invite you to book your first coaching session with me. Go to startthatbusinesscoaching.com and book your first coaching session with me so that I can help you build a sustainable and profitable online service-based business from scratch from day one. If you are ready to start brainstorming on your idea, go to startthatbusinesspodcast.com and download my business clarity blueprint so that you can start brainstorming on your ideas. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something new and you were encouraged to take action. If so, will you stop right now and share this episode with someone so they can get the help you just got? I would also love it if you can leave a review for this podcast on Apple Podcast or the podcast app you're using to listen. This is the number one way I know you're getting value from the content on this podcast. Until next time, always remember you have all you need to start that business. So keep listening for more episodes. I'll meet you here next week.